everybody, and welcome to another episode of the Love and Light Talk Show. I'm your host, Yashasvi Shrikant, and I come to you with another beautiful super soul. Now, before I tell you all about her, I'm going to tell you a little bit about what the show today is going to be about. So, homeopathy. It is a natural form of medicine used by over 200 million people worldwide to treat both chronic and acute conditions. Now, as I drove deeper into understanding what homeopathy was, one question definitely arose is why it would be beneficial to use homeopathic substances to help treat an illness or health problem if the same substance seems to also contribute to an illness. Well, the idea is that this practice actually helps stimulate the immune system and the body's natural ability to heal. So it's very close to nature, very close to sort of touching base with what your body can do. And one of the most important principles about homeopathic medicine is that its treatments are individualized and tailored to each person's specific symptoms. So even if you have two people with the same symptoms, the doctor can imagine how much they have to check, because it's such a broad spectrum of things they're looking at. They're looking at the history, the body, and the needs. And then they can receive completely different recommendations of how their homeopathic medicine will be. And that's why the doctors are so, I have to say, phenomenal when it comes to this. And that's why brings me to my guest today. She's phenomenal. She's my longtime friend from Connecticut, and she has helped saved so many families' lives. I'm talking about none other than Dr. Yashasvi Jhangiani. Welcome, Dr. Yaashi. Thank you so much for taking time to be on my show today, but I'm going to give a little bit about her before I let her take the floor. Yaashi is a passionate homeopathic educator with a bachelor's degree in homeopathy from Mumbai University, board certified by the Council of Homeopathic Certification, registered with the North American Society of Homeopaths and the National Center of Homeopathy in the US. Now, she has been practicing homeopathy since 1994 and loves to empower, educate, and guide families that wish to incorporate safe and effective over-the-counter non-prescription homeopathic remedies into their well-care routine. Now, she's also a volunteer for the EMT with Westport EMS since 2003. She also teaches their American Heart Association affiliated CPR and first aid program. Yaashi, welcome.
Thank you, Jashi. I think we could end this interview now. You've given all the information.
We are going to be busting some huge myths today, because there are a lot of questions and there are going to be a lot of naysayers who don't believe. But I don't want to particularly, if fine, you believe good, you don't believe also good. But I want those who feel like this is something that resonates with them, they should definitely try it, right?
Exactly. So, like I said, you've given really the outline of what homeopathy is and what I do. Just a little correction. So here in the US, I don't call myself a doctor. I call myself a consulting homeopath educator. Whenever I'm in India, I'm still a doctor because the bachelor's degree gives me that designation of Dr. Yashasvi. But here in the US, we are not licensed practitioners. Okay. So we are more like consulting homeopaths and educators. So because most of the homeopathic remedies are over the counter and they're non-prescription. So what I do is I basically empower families who want to incorporate this and use, and that's why my motto is think homeopathy first, meaning allopathy is indispensable and you do need the regular hospitals, your regular MDs, but we don't need to go to them for every little thing. So 70 to 80% of our issues can get resolved by using holistic modalities, and homeopathy being one of them, because it is so gentle. And if you recognize the symptoms and use it initially at the onset of symptoms, you may be able to nip most things in the bud and may not need to use the allopathy at all.
In fact, I'm going to talk about from my personal experience. When I was borderline, I was having an incessant cough, and I went to the hospital, and the doctor's like, "Oh, you're borderline bronchitis and everything." So the first thing my uncle said, "Hey, listen, try homeopathy, see how it goes." I got these pills. They were yummy. I got to tell you, they are yummy, yummy pills. And within 3 months, the cough subsided. Until today, it has never come back.
Yes, and I hear these stories all the time, and I want to just read to you what I received just 2 days back from one of my patients. So it's a very delicate science. It is very important to understand and to match the symptoms to the remedies, which is why what I usually do for families that come to me, and a lot of my families have young children.
Yeah.
So I build a little kit for them, so they'll have all the basic remedies that they could need, and then I teach them how to match the symptoms to the remedy. So like this, a mom just wrote to me, "Hi, so I just wanted to let you know last week my son woke up with a slight cold. I started with a remedy, aconite, switched to the pulsatilla, and then later that night, nux vomica, because he was congested at night. The next day, he woke up absolutely fine, didn't have to miss any school because I was able to treat the start of the cold by paying close attention to the symptoms. It takes time to learn, but I feel like I'm finally getting the hang of it because of you. Thank you." So, see, I always like say that if your symptoms change, you have to change the remedy. It's important to recognize the symptoms, which is the way the body is telling you what's going on inside. So if you match the symptoms to the remedy and give the remedy at that time, you will have nipped the symptoms in the bud. So here's a perfect example of how within a day, the symptoms were, gone. The child was better, didn't miss any school, and was back to normal.
Basically, what you're saying is you're not just shooting in the dark and you're like hoping.
No.
This is very specific. You're having these symptoms. We're going to treat those symptoms.
Yes. So what you're doing is you're not treating the symptoms or suppressing the symptoms. You're using the symptoms as the way as like reading the body's language. Symptoms are the way of body telling you what is not right with it, what is off balance. So you match that language to the remedy, pick the remedy based on that symptom presentation, and you hit the nail right on the head, and you'll have an amazing outcome always.
And I think this is for all my viewers. The whole reason why anybody doesn't want to, when you say homeopathy or even Ayurveda, the reason a lot of people are sort of a little, because it's something maybe unknown. And that's why at the end of the show, I want you to feel educated, feel like, you know what, this is something I can trust. And that's why Yaashi is here to sort of dispel any doubts that you may have that is stopping you from availing this amazing, amazing gift. I call this a gift. Homeopathy is a gift to humanity, and it's a shame if you don't take advantage of this. So, Yaashi, we're going to jump into one of the first myths, okay? Homeopathy, and I'm sure you've heard this a million times, it's just placebo.
Right. So, what I see in my practice is that it usually starts with young moms bringing their children. Children feel better. Because the children feel better, then the moms start taking it. Moms start feeling better, and then the dads are like, "What are those white pills you're giving?
Yeah.
Have to try something." Or they have a headache or they have a cough, and the mom will just be like, "You try, why don't you try it?" And then they feel better. And when they feel better, then they come back to me, "I'm feeling this now. Can you give me something like what you gave me last time? Can you give me one of this?" My family has started calling them the Yaashi pill. So do you have a Yaashi pill for this issue?
Yaashi.
Or do you have a Yaashi pill for that issue? So that's how it starts. So you don't have to believe in it. And again, I say not every system is going to work for everybody. So it's not going to work for 100% of the population, but 80 to 90% of the people will benefit from it. So you don't have to believe in it at all, because it is scientific. It has been around for over 200 years. It was started by an allopathic physician. So his name was Dr. Samuel Hahnemann. He was a German physician. And 200 years back, 200 plus years back in Germany, when he was practicing, the practice of medicine was very barbaric. There was bloodletting, and there were really cruel methods.
Right.
So he just gave up the practice of medicine and he started to translate the works. And that's how he started making a living. He's like, "I'm not going to practice. This is too much." So that's where he read about the first homeopathic remedy, which is cinchona bark. And he read that cinchona bark can produce fever with chills. And he was like, "That can be true." So he said, "I'm going to test this out. This just cannot be true." So he actually took the cinchona bark and he developed the fever and the chills. And that is how the principle of homeopathy was
Oh.
discovered, which is like cures like, meaning that a substance that can produce symptoms can cure those symptoms. So that's what he did. He said, let me try this for a person who has fever with chills. And lo behold, that person felt better. But he said, why use it as is? Because when you take it, the symptoms that come up if you give it to a healthy person are very severe. So then he said, let me dilute it. And that's how the law of potentization came into being, where then he started diluting it to the point where it became energetic. And that's why potentization, he potentized that remedy. So it became very gentle, and it then they started proving it. So instead of having clinical trials like you have for regular medicines, we have provings in homeopathy. So you give it to healthy individuals, they take it, then they note down all the symptoms, and then those symptoms are collected, and that's how our dictionary, which is the materia medica of symptoms, is born. So you put every remedy and you note down all the symptoms that it produces, and then when you see those symptoms manifested in a disease state, you can give it to that person.
Wow.
So that's the basic foundation of homeopathy, and a little backstory on
Yeah,
homeopathy.
no, it's because a lot of people definitely don't know how did it start. So this is great.
Right.
We're gonna go into the second one.
Yes.
Seemingly, there is no evidence that homeopathy works. That I don't even. Anyway, I don't believe that because
Right.
I'm a living example of how it works.
Right. So yes, homeopathy does work, and there are lots of studies. So it's not just people who feel better with it and who come back and say that it works. There is now actually clinical research happening all around the world. India is leading that research. So there is a homeopath here in the US. Her name is Karen Allen. And I love her story because she's been practicing for 30 something years. So now she's given up practice, and she shares the story about how she stopped active practice because she wants to go into research to show how homeopathy works. And she shared how when she told her patients that she's going to stop practicing and then she's going to go into research, and they were all like, yeah, but you're still going to take care of me, right? So like, because you have that special relationship with
Right,
them.
right.
So all of each one of them, the very close and the ones who had been with her for a very long time, they were like, I know, you're not going to take care of others, but you'll still take care of me. So she said, finally it came to a point where though I was giving them other references to other practitioners,
Yeah.
because I put a timeline that after this I'm going to go into the research.
Right.
So she said, finally I had to tell them, unless you're planning to give up life next year or pass away, I'm sorry to tell you, but this is it. I'm not going to be practicing. So now she has stopped active practice,
Yeah.
and she's collaborating with a lot of organizations that are doing clinical research on how homeopathy works. So there's talk of nanoparticles, energetic medicine, water memory, all of these different theories that are being looked at so that it can be presented to the world on exactly how the homeopathic remedies work. So they work, we know that, but that question on how they work, those answers are going to be out there soon as
And
well.
actually, a lot of people don't realize this, but even you as a practitioner, it's almost like you are with them in every step of the way.
Correct.
It's not like I'm giving you medicines and you're like, bye bye. No.
So the way my practice and the practice of a lot of homeopaths that I resonate with works is that this is a partnership. So you don't just walk into our office, get a remedy and leave. No, we actually teach you. So we make you independent and we empower you that you're able to take care of your family's health yourself. For all acute issues. So I actually have a closed Facebook group. It's called Paid Forward Think Homeopathy First. And I've now, I ask all the families that come to me to join the group. So somebody who's completely new to homeopathy, doesn't know anything,
Yeah.
have them join the group so they can see how other people are using it and learn from their success stories. And in this group are families who've been with me for 8, 10, 15 years. So, or like now over the weekend or in the evening, if your child or you have a symptom, you just post it in the group and somebody or the other will give you an answer. And I usually check in every other day or, once the weekend is over or in the morning, and then I'll pipe in if I feel no, this remedy or that remedy. So you have this support system which is there for you on your journey as you empower yourself to using these non-prescription over-the-counter remedies, and we take care of all your little things that happen every little ailment can be taken care of. Now, if you have a long-term chronic ailment, I don't recommend taking care of it yourself. That's where the homeopath comes in. So if you are needing to use the acute remedies very often, then the homeopath will jump in, take your whole case, study you top to bottom, your emotions, your diet, your sleep, your appetite, your sweat. Literally, we ask you everything.
Mhm.
And then on the basis of that, we will choose a deep acting constitutional or state remedy for you and give that to you once a month or once every 6 weeks. You can still use the acute remedies for your acute symptoms. But
Mhm.
now this deeper acting remedy will reduce the need for you to have to take the acute remedies. And if you have been on any allopathic remedies when you come to us, we will slowly taper them off as you start to feel better. So never stop any medications that you're taking. If you start homeopathy or any other holistic modality, if you add it in, never stop the allopathic medicines. Monitor, and as you're starting to feel better, you start tapering off the dosage, and ultimately maybe in a year to 2 to 5 years you'll be able to stop the allopathic medicines as well.
Have you found patients with diabetes
Yes, yes,
benefit?
absolutely.
So
So
you
those, especially the non-insulin dependent ones, those who develop diabetes later in their life, and the earlier they come to us,
yeah.
the earlier we can take care of them. So there are a lot of homeopathic remedies that can help treat chronic conditions like hypertension, diabetes, coronary heart disease, you name it. There are remedies for all of those.
And both hypertension and diabetes are the number one leading cause for renal
Right.
failure. So it's really important to, like you said, nip them in the bud.
Right.
How much time is a consultation? Like a first time a person's coming to you, how
Right.
much time should they set aside to get for a consultation?
Even before they come to me, they need an hour to 2 hours alone by themselves, because I usually send them a questionnaire to fill out. So that way they get a chance. So that way when they meet me, we don't forget anything.
Yeah,
Get a questionnaire way before they meet me. So they fill out that questionnaire that has a lot of detailed questions. It's like writing an essay about yourself.
right.
So they fill out the questionnaire, they send it to me, and I've had an opportunity to look at it when we meet. And then it could be anywhere from 45 minutes to 2 hours based on the history about. And then the first month, we may talk every week, even every few days.
Yeah.
And then after the first month or so, it's usually once every few weeks that we'll touch base. But the first time, yeah, give yourself at least
It's
1 to 2
it's
hours. Yeah.
pretty intense. And what's interesting about the questionnaire, and I'm pretty sure when these questions are designed also to sort of give you a look inside yourself. You know?
Exactly. It's just exactly introspection. Just
Mhm.
sometimes you're not even aware of things you're doing. So when you write everything down,
Like what?
become
I'm having all these burgers every day?
exactly
I didn't even know that.
ice cream, chocolate.
Oh,
I thought I was
I
just
see.
having one chocolate,
How
but
often do you work out? Must be
things.
about 2 weeks now. So yeah,
Exactly.
it's interesting. It's
Yes. And
it's
that's the thing. Modern medicine is not set up as well care. It's sick care.
yeah.
Appointments are 10 to 15 minutes. So it's not that they don't want to take care of you, but the way the insurance system and everything is set up, the doctors nowadays just don't have the time to listen to you. So you have to take care of yourself. You have to like step up and say, I'm going to take all the steps necessary to take care of myself. So this is just one step in that direction. And homeopathy is one tool that is available to you.
Self-care, people. Self-care. I gotta tell you. Don't wait till you have to get to the doctor. If you start taking care of yourself now, you may never even need to see a doctor, you know. So homeopathy, this is again myth number 3. Homeopathy is dangerous because it encourages people from delaying medical treatment.
No. So, homeopaths or homeopathy does not ask you to delay seeking medical care. That is a choice people make themselves. There was a really sad case in Canada about this mom whose child had strep throat, and it was like 9 or 10 days into the infection. He had these huge pus filled boils, his fever was not coming down, and she refused to seek medical attention. So you don't want to do something stupid like that. So all the patients or all the families that come to me are working with a pediatrician or with their own PCP. So I do not see people who don't have practitioner that they are working with,
Mm.
because you do need to for diagnostics, blood work, anything you need your PCP, you need your pediatrician to look at you. You take homeopathy or Ayurveda, or for that matter, any holistic modality that you want to do, but you have to recognize its limitations. Be able to recognize where it's not working, or it's an acute, really acute situation, and you need to go to the ER, or you need to go to the urgent care, whatever you need to go. You have to recognize and you have to take those steps. So you should never, ignore the other modalities. They're available to you,
Yes.
and find a middle ground. Find middle ground where you use these modalities, and if you use them in the right situation, and if the situation demands that you need to go to the urgent care or you need to go to the ER, then that's what you do. So you have to learn to recognize and be able to know your limitations.
Yes, yes. I guess even using just common sense, like, you know what, hey, it's just not working. So let's see, okay, what's the next step, right? That
Exactly.
is such a sad story. Oh my gosh. I mean, I'm not one of those moms who's like, my son has a fever and then I'm running to the doctor. But day two, I'm definitely starting to get a little,
Right.
you know?
So I have, in the 25 years of practice, there have been 2 or 3 instances where I have myself said, your child needs the antibiotic. And one of the situations where I've said that is, if there is a fever that is not even coming down with Tylenol or ibuprofen,
Wow, yeah.
that kind of an infection which is not responding to Tylenol or ibuprofen, you need antibiotics for sure.
For
So
sure.
you have to know, like, these are very simple ways to figure out where you need to throw in the towel and say, okay, this situation I need to take allopathy. And then again, go back to working to strengthening your immune system. So usually, for example, I'll have a child say, coming to me with repeated ear infections,
Hmm.
getting ear infections, throat infections, tonsillitis, being sick every month. We start with the remedies. We continue to use acute remedies in acute situations. Start with a deep acting constitutional remedy to build the immune system. And over a period of 6 months to 1 year, we see that they fall less and less sick. Fall less and less sick, and each time they fall sick, instead of being sick for 7 to 9 days, the number of days is also reducing. Now they recover within 2 or 3 days, and they're responding to the acute homeopathic remedies itself. So that's what happens. And over a period of maybe 1 year, they don't need the remedies at all.
Wow.
Or they will maybe they'll get the regular 2 or 3 colds in the year, which will respond easily to the homeopathic remedies. So that's how you work.
I
You
think even
don't
for
just,
children, you must be noticing asthma is like on the
right.
rise.
So we see a lot, and I think this is that over clean syndrome.
Mm. Yeah.
Kids before used to play in the mud, they used to play in the dirt. Exactly, we weren't like over sanitizing. There were no wipes, there was no, so the kids immune systems had a chance to be exposed to stuff.
Yes.
With
Yes.
over clean syndrome, now what is happening is, because the immune system doesn't have germs that they're
Yes.
exposed to as
Yes.
much,
Yes.
we're getting more asthma, we are getting more of allergies, we are getting more of food intolerances. I'm seeing so many children that are intolerant to so many foods:
Peanuts.
peanuts, dairy, soy, gluten. The list goes on and on. So that's what it is. One, a lot of the food that's out there is not food, it's genetically modified, it's got, been exposed to pesticides.
Yeah.
That, coupled with this over clean syndrome. So I'm seeing things that we didn't see when I went to school 25, 26
Yes.
years
Yes.
back.
Yes.
Yes.
So when it comes to like the like you're seeing the whole sensitivity to gluten and everything, so you feel that is that something homeopathy can sort of aid a child in
Yes,
overcoming?
absolutely. So what we actually have remedies made from. I have a potentized cheese remedy. I have a potentized remedy from wheat.
Okay,
So these are anyway inflammatory foods. If you see gluten, dairy, soy, these foods are cause inflammation in the body.
lots of
So we shouldn't
information.
be eating them a lot anyways. More of fresh fruits,
Mm.
more of vegetables, lentils, foods that are cooked at home is what I recommend to my families. But the kids are going to have pizza. You go out to a birthday party, and not being able to eat pizza or not being able to eat
Yeah,
cake. They're children. They're going to do it.
yeah.
So in that case, then I recommend using these remedies before and after exposure to the offending foods, so that they can at least eat it sometimes.
Oh,
So
fantastic.
they don't have to completely give it up. That they are bothering you, so don't eat them. But once in a week, once in 2 weeks, if
Yeah.
you're exposed to it, you
Yeah.
have remedies that can help you not feel so sick or have stomach ache or have hives or whatever else
And
from
regret
the
having
exposure.
that bite.
Exactly. Yes.
Um, Now, one of the myths is a strict diet must be followed in order to take homeopathic medicines.
Not true. So, homeopathic remedies are taken by mouth most of the time. And I recommend that your mouth should be clean and neutral, should not have taste of food or drink in your mouth. Or if you've just brushed your teeth and you have that minty taste in your mouth, don't take the homeopathic remedy at that time. So just keep a gap of 15 minutes before or after food. You can have water before you take the remedy, but don't drink water for at least 15 minutes after you've taken the remedy. So that's it. Dr. Sankaran, one of our senior homeopaths, shared this story at our conference this year in June. He said that one of his aunts came to him and she said, I've been having this knee pain and I wanted to come to you, but the reason I haven't come is because I know you're going to tell me to stop drinking coffee. And South Indians and coffee, you can't
I
live.
was going to ask you about coffee. I'm like
Right.
always drinking coffee.
Exactly. So she was like, that's the reason why it's taken me so long to come to you, because I can give up my coffee,
Yeah.
but now I'm ready. So I'm going to give up the coffee. Go ahead and give me, really struggling with the pain. So
Yeah.
Dr. Sankaran, gave her the remedies and everything. And she came back for a follow-up and she's like, I'm feeling, 40-50% better. So he gave her for another month. They continued. 6 months down the lane, she's almost 80% better. She's, not using her cane anymore. And then like, Rajan, I have to tell you something. I never gave up the coffee, but I didn't have the heart to tell you that I wasn't going to. So what we have seen is that if a particular food is a staple part of your diet, your body has now gotten used to it. So I'm not going to tell you go and drink 10 cups of coffee in a day. If you're drinking
Yeah.
8 cups, you need to cut that down.
Yes.
There's something in your body that is not right if you're needing those many. But if you're drinking that 1 cup of coffee in the morning, or 2 cups in a day,
Yeah.
not going to ask you to give it up. If you're going to have coffee, then instead of keeping the interval to 15 to 20 minutes, I would say wait an hour.
Yeah.
I had a patient last month, again, an old patient. She smokes. She smokes, and I don't know how I missed it in the history when she filled it out, because I usually don't take smokers, because it's impossible if you're a smoker to find that 1 hour gap where the taste of the smoke is not going to be in your mouth, right? So I don't know how I missed it, but as we finished the case and I'm talking to her and she's like, okay, how much gap do I keep from my smoking? And I'm like, wait, what did I miss? And
You're
then I
like,
go,
what? You're like, what?
oh,
When
but then now it's too late. I had already mailed her the remedies.
Yeah.
Okay, whatever. I'll take my chances with it. So I told her, you have to cut down. I told her that keep a gap of at least 1 hour before and after. Rinse your mouth out very well and then take the remedy. She's almost 40% better with her symptoms within a month. So what I've learned is that whatever is in
also
your
might
diet,
need to stop smoking.
but like whatever is a part of your diet, I'm not going to restrict it. Onion, garlic, be it coffee, be it whatever. In moderation, you can take whatever is a part of your daily. But if that particular food item or drink item doesn't make you feel good, makes you sick, gives you stomachache, gives you hives, gives you a foggy brain, then you need to then consider yourself that I need to cut this out of my diet, or at least reduce it. But there's no restriction because you're starting homeopathic treatment. That's what
Like it's not restricting. It's like, no, it's not cookie cutter. It's either this way or that way.
No.
But you personally, do you take coffee, or you're eliminated that completely?
I was never a coffee tea drinker to begin with.
Okay.
So I didn't have to eliminate it. I'll have an occasional cup of coffee, but I'm not addicted. I used to like cold coffee a lot when I was younger, but like it's not something that I drink on a regular basis.
So when you wake up in the morning, what do you take?
So for me, my schedule usually is in the morning. I usually start with lemon water, warm water and lemon. That's the first thing I take in the morning. And I usually follow that up with juice, celery juice, carrot juice. I have been trying all different kinds of vegetable juices. And then maybe around 9:30, 10, I have fruit. And it's usually seasonal fruit. So it could be clementines, it could be pomegranates, strawberries, whatever. It's usually some fruit. And then by 11:30 is when I'm ready to eat food. So I will have my lunch around that time. And then I snack throughout the day. most recent
I think.
is kale chips. So I'm addicted
Oh, I love
to
kale
kale
chips
chips right now.
from
So
Whole
I'm
Foods.
like making them every day because they disappear every day. My as soon as they're in the oven, Mahesh and Arna will smell it and they'll come down and
Oh,
then they're
really?
gone. So we've been having kale chips every single day.
Oh, they
So
must be delicious.
yes, and they're easy to make. You just pop them in the oven and you just reduce the temperature to like 250, leave them there for like 15-20 minutes, and then just turn the oven off for another 20-25 minutes, just as the temperature is cooling down, and
Yeah.
you have crispy kale chips ready to eat. And you can, you flavor them. I have a weakness for Indo-Chinese.
Mm.
I've been flavoring them with that Ching secret
Oh, yeah,
Szechuan chutney.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, so you have Indo-Chinese kale
Yeah,
chips.
yeah. Like the Hakka noodles masala thing, right? Oh,
Yes,
yum.
exactly.
Yum, yum, yum. You could even try chaat masala, maybe that could work.
Whatever flavor you want. So usually lunch will be my biggest meal of the day,
Yeah.
where I eat my full-fledged Indian food, rice, lentils,
Mhm.
vegetables, salad. And then I snack for the rest of the day. And the evening is usually like a
Mhm.
salad, soup, whatever, and that's it. And then we don't eat after 7:30, 8.
Right.
So, and then again in the morning, we start with the lemon water, juice, fruit, and then lunch again.
What does a lemon water do for your system, though?
It's very cleansing. So it's the first thing you're doing. It just cleanses it. It's a great liver cleanser as well.
Got it.
So just it's like sweeping your intestines first thing in the morning. So you
You put
start.
some honey in there?
I don't put honey, but you have the option of. I don't have a sweet
Because
tooth.
again, it might be so for some people
Yes.
it's too sour, I guess.
Yes. People do different things. They put honey in it.
Agave.
Some people like to do water with just apple cider vinegar,
Mhm.
just warm water. Just you can have green tea.
Mhm.
Any warm water drink in the morning
Is
will really help you. Yes, exactly. And then you can have your tea, coffee, whatever you want. Really, if that works for especially for Indian families, if they don't get that cup of tea in the morning, the day doesn't start, and that's totally fine. Whatever works for you.
I mean, that is really me. I just the first thing I'm like reaching for the coffee, but I definitely want to start the because you also talked about it, and yesterday too. I had the other my other guest for Ayurvedic, and she also mentioned the same thing.
Lemon water.
Um, lemon water, but celery juice. Why is it such a big thing? Like, what does it do for your body?
There's actually a book on it. So Anthony Williams has written a whole book on celery juice.
Okay.
And again, it works for a lot of people,
Mhm.
doesn't work for some people. So you
Okay.
have to give it a try to
Got
see
it.
if it works for you and how it makes you feel. I know people who've had lifelong issues that have gotten sorted out with
Mhm.
celery juice. And it's not just celery juice that he talks about. He talks about a lot of foods and what each food can do for you. So you can check out his Facebook page, his
I'll even link it to the.
yes, absolutely.
What's his name again?
Anthony Williams.
Anthony Williams. In fact, for all the viewers, I'm going to be linking Yaashi, your website. Right? I've got everything. I've got all her social media handles. I will be linking everything in the description box, so you can easily access.
Yeah.
If you are able to, if you love everything that she's telling you, and you do have something that forget even just an issue, just want some well-being, nice.
Any questions? And here in the US, there are some organizations that I really trust
Mm-hmm.
concerning homeopathy. The very first one is the National Center of Homeopathy. They have been around for 30 something years.
Yeah.
And the reason I like them is because they are like an umbrella organization that has brought all the other homeopathic organizations together. So they have helped form a homeopathic alliance. So the Homeopathic Alliance in the US now consists of, you have the National Center of Homeopathy, you have the Americans for Homeopathy Choice, you have the Council for Homeopathic Certification, the North American Society of Homeopaths, you have the Homeopathic Association of Naturopathic Practitioners, because here in the US, a lot of the naturopathic practitioners also use homeopathy because they are taught homeopathy as a part of their curriculum. Then you have the organization of midwives and nurses that use homeopathy. You have chiropractors that use homeopathy. So what the National Center of Homeopathy has done is they have an annual conference every year. And I think 8 or 9 years back, they said, why why just homeopaths? Let's open it up to all holistic practitioners.
Wow.
So they brought everybody under this one umbrella,
Right.
where now there's an alliance of homeopathic practitioners, so that you have access to each other's information.
Yeah.
And so people who come to me usually don't use just homeopathy. They have a naturopath, they have a chiropractor, they have their pediatrician, they have their craniosacral, they have their acupuncturist.
Oh,
So,
wow.
there's this whole team of holistic practitioners who are working together to help you gain your optimum health, to make the best of your life.
Wow. Um, in fact, I wanted to ask you, the convention definitely is not happening this year. Must have.
We actually had a virtual conference for 3 days, and it was amazing. I don't know how they pulled it off,
Oh, wow.
but it was virtual, and it was like from 7 in the morning till about midnight for the first 2 days, and then the third day we ended at like I think 8 p.m. and it was amazing. They pulled it off in a month. Yeah, it was constant, and a lot of our presenters who usually come physically, they were just sitting where they were. So they were in India, they were in Canada, and they presented from there. And even the team that put this together, which is a team of Whole Health Now, their team was, one person was in South America, one person was in Canada, two of them were in the Pacific coast, and they put this together from, all over. And it worked out very well. I was pretty impressed with that.
Well, one thing for sure, the pandemic has taught us to sort of navigate, I would say, almost seamlessly, right?
Yes. And there's so much information on homeopathy out there. Some of the other homeopaths and their websites that I love, I'll give you those links as well if you want to add. Miranda Castro, she's been practicing for 30 something years, so much free information on her website. There is Mary Espinwall, her website is theremedyseeker.com. She's amazing as well. She has a group online which has 30,000 plus members.
Okay.
And again, it's a huge learning opportunity. And for somebody that's new, they can join these groups and, learn about homeopathy to see if this is something that they want to incorporate into, like I said, their well-care.
Yeah, right. So exactly the same thing. So if there's any doubt, there's so much information out there. All your questions will be answered. Of course, Yashi's there too. If you can, hit her up.
Email me, message me on Facebook. Happy to point you in the right direction. Because like I said, not one modality works for everybody. You have to search and find the modalities that work for you and then use them all together to be able to help you.
Yaashi, we're almost coming to the end of the show, but I wanted to ask you, do you have any advice to the viewers and, sort of increasing the immunity at this time as we, to fight COVID?
Right. So lot of information is out there about homeopathic remedies for the current pandemic. And I have been attending webinars non-stop by practitioners that are in UK, India, Canada, here in the US. They're constantly updating people on the remedies to use. So the very first remedy that was put out there early in March, when this whole thing started, was by AYUSH. So AYUSH is the ministry in India for holistic medicine. What AYUSH stands for is Ayurveda, then you have yoga, Unani, and then you have Siddha and homeopathy. So in India, there's actually a ministry for holistic medicine.
Wow.
So what they did was, and I'll again give you the link if you want to put it in the chat, and they put out recommendations using all of these 5 modalities. And from the homeopathic perspective, they had put out the remedy Arsenicum alb. Okay. That can be used as a preventative. And they had put out that you could use it for 3 days and take it 3 times in a day for 3 days, and that should give you immunity. So in case you did come in contact with somebody that had the coronavirus, if you came down with symptoms, they would be very mild, or you may not even get it. Wow. So that was the very first remedy that was put out. After that, a lot of other remedies were put out. And then last month, we had a 4-day kind of conference where they kind of collected all the data from the past 6 months to see what remedies worked and didn't work. So
Right.
usually when there is a pandemic or an epidemic, we have something in homeopathy called a genus epidemicus. So genus epidemicus is one preventive remedy that would cover the symptoms, because most people have the same symptoms when there's an epidemic.
Yeah.
But this time around, it's not like that, right? The symptoms are varied. You could have something as simple as just a cough, fever. You could be completely asymptomatic, or you could have loss of smell. You could have loss of taste. You could end up in the hospital with like not being able to breathe. So the whole spectrum of symptoms. So on the basis of that, 4 remedies came to the top. The first one was the arsenicum alb that Ayush had put out right in the beginning. The second remedy that came up was gelsemium. The third remedy that came up was phosphorus. And the fourth remedy that came up was bryonia. They did the statistical analysis of the people who were being treated with homeopathy. And what they saw was 80% of the people responded to these 4 remedies, and the symptoms matched these 4 remedies. And then there were about 20% that needed other rare remedies. Other than these 4 remedies, and the last remedy that came up was camphor. So camphor was actually given to the whole Bajaj community. So you have the chairman of the Bajaj Industries, who is a big proponent of homeopathy, and he actually distributed the camphor in 1M potency to his whole staff, to all his factory workers. And none of them got sick, or the ones who did get sick had very mild symptoms. Exactly. So, and I could send out this information as well in a link.
Absolutely, because our numbers are, again, I think the third wave is.
Yes. And so again, each of these remedies, that the 4 common ones that I spoke about, arsenicum, phosphorus, gelsemium, and bryonia. Each one of them has very peculiar characteristics which can help you choose which one would work for you if you want to take one of these as a preventative. So that to build your own immune system, as you said, just to give your immune system that extra boost, that in case you came in contact with somebody that had the virus and you got it, it's like your body has gotten that jhatka beforehand. So you will not get the symptoms as much, because your immune system will recognize it and will take care of it right away. So the peculiar symptoms for arsenicum alb are this state of fear that we are seeing in a lot of people. The fear that I'm going to get sick, the fear of disease, the fear of, they're constantly washing hands, they're constantly stressed about it. That particular state of mind speaks to the arsenicum alb remedy. So if you're constantly, like, I'll give an example. I was in New York around in that time around March, and we had gone into one of the Indian groceries to pick up some groceries for my uncle who lives there, who's old and want to leave the house. And they had, the Gurbani going. That's usually like that religious music is usually played at like funerals and stuff when you're just going in for a viewing, and nobody was looking at each other. Everybody was looking down. It was almost like somebody had died. I got so stressed just in that situation. And that state of mind, that state that because everybody's in that state and you start feeling that fear, that state is arsenicum alb. So if you're ever in that state, you need the arsenicum alb.
God forbid you cough in the line in the supermarket.
Exactly.
God.
The second remedy that's coming up is phosphorus. And the phosphorus is for the empath. So if you are the kind of person who feels everybody else's pain and suffering, and you feel like, oh my God, this is so,
that's me.
If you watch somebody, you watch on TV, this one is in the hospital, and you start to feel, and remember, your mind, your state of mind is the first thing. If your state of mind is not right, your immunity is never going to be right. So if your state of mind is good, you'll not catch anything, because it's a psychosomatic act. So if you're the empath who feels everybody's pain and suffering, and phosphorus is the remedy for you. Now, if it is the economic insecurity that's worrying you, what if I lose my job? What if, how am I going to pay my bills? What's my 401k doing? You can't sleep at night because you're seeing the stocks tank. The remedy for you then is bryonia. So bryonia. So see, each of these remedies that have covered the 80% or so of the symptoms, each has a very specific state of mind. So if your economic worry is your issue, then you should consider the bryonia. Now, the last one is gelsemium. right? Gelsemium is for a person that has anticipatory anxiety just for no reason. You're worried about anything. You're worried to go out to the store. You're worried to do anything. You know, just every little thing is stressing you out. Your remedy is gelsemium.
Right.
So,
Everything you out.
so how each of these remedies, if you match it to your state of mind, these are the 4 remedies that have been put out by a majority of the homeopaths and can be used as a preventative for this current situation.
Oh, fantastic. Oh my God. Thank you, Yashi. I am
You're so
so
welcome.
happy. This has been so enlightening, so much information. And I just want to say, oh, a quick question. Now, these medicines, can children take them? Are they safe for children?
Absolutely, absolutely. So the remedies are can be used right from birth
Mm.
to old age. There is nobody that is there's nobody, no age group that is that cannot take it.
Because
Everybody can use.
because a lot of parents are, who are sort of divided in hybrid models or all virtual classes. This is great. It equips you to, send your child knowing they're okay and
Exactly,
gonna be
exactly.
fine.
Yes.
Thank you so much,
You're
and
very welcome. Thank you so
I
much.
will be
Yes.
linking all the descriptions. So please, everybody, definitely go ahead and get in touch with Yashi. Okay. Bye. I'm gonna
Bye, Jayashree. Take care. Bye.